lovely people, today I'm going to teach you how to line your fabric to sew a slit. Maybe what's your for that you line a fabric to sew a slit. Into this is 2 years or this is less than 2 years. Okay, so we are going to line the fabric. This lining here is more than 2 yards. This lining here is about 5 yards lining. I didn't cut the exact for this fabric because I want to teach you something. When you are going to line a fabric of 2 yards for your slit, you don't cut exactly the same measurement of the fabric with the lining. You don't cut the same measurements for the lining. The lining is supposed to be shorter than the slit. So this is how I usually do it. Okay, so we'll open up the fabric this way. We'll open it up, and this is the correct side of the fabric. So this is the correct side. You can see it by the writings. It tells that this is the correct. So this is where we are going to do the lining from. And so I've turned it into the correct side of the fabric. So this is the correct side. So I'll just turn my lining, open my lining up. Then I'm going to sew the lining, attach the lining from this side, and sew up to the ends here. So let me use pins to hold them for you to understand. Okay, so this is it. So we have pinned the whole thing. So it means you are going to sew up to this point. Okay, so I have to bring it to the floor so that you understand. I can spread it out. So after sewing where we have pinned, sewn everything together, you spread it out this way, and then you measure the length of your slit, the measurement or the length you want. I want 38. I will add 1 inch to it to make it 39 for folding on the top. So I'm going to pull this way. I will just place my tape measure here this way, and then I will just measure and see if I have 38. What I have here is 42. So I'll continue pulling till I get the measurements that I want. Here again. This is the ends of the fabric, and I have 39, almost 40, which is okay because I'll use ½ inch to sew this, to join the fabric and the lining, so it's okay. And so I'm going to cut it here. Hope you can see this is the fabric. Yeah, so I'm going to cut this off. So when I get here, I'll just cut this off. I'm going to cut this off. My cloth is serving as a guideline, so you have to be vigilant when it comes to this side so you don't cut through the fabric. Okay, and so this place is not straight. I'm going to straighten it up by this. And as you can see, this place is folded up, so I need to straighten this, iron it. So I'm not going to cut it through exactly, so I'll just leave some few inches there So this is it. So when I iron on top, everything will be okay for me. And so this is it. So I'm going to sew this part. I'm going to sew this, and I'm going to sew all this together, then I'll show it to you. Okay, so I'm done sewing both sides. Sewn this place also. You see, I'm done sewing both sides. So you have some of the fabric at the ends here, and you also have some at the ends here. So this is it. Now after this, the next thing you are going to do is you are going to determine which one is going to go to the upper part and which one is coming down. And this one is very important when you are using fabric that contains some specific pattern that shows up and down. Then you need to, but this fabric, it doesn't matter which one goes up and which one comes down. Now if your fabric, the pattern has this indication where one side is supposed to go up and where one side is supposed to come down, then where it's supposed to come down is supposed to have much of the fabric there. And so let's say I'm going to use this part for the down part of my slit. This is going to be the down, and so this is going to be the down. This part is going to have much of the fabric compared to the upper part. Okay, just make sure everything is straight. So I'll just measure what I have here. So from where the seaming line is, I measure, I have almost 5.01. I have 5.01. And then when we come to the upper part here, I have less than 2 inches, so which is okay for me. I'm measuring because at the end of the day, I want what I'll get here to be exactly at the other ends. If you don't measure and you just do a guesswork, you realize that you have maybe 5 inches here, and then the other parts of it, which is this place, you might have either 4.5 or less than 5 inches or 4 inches. And when it happens this way, or when it happens that way, you are going to have your lining, at the end of the day, you are going to have it crooked. You are not going to get a straight lined fabric. It's going to be crooked. So when we measure the down here, what I have here from the seaming part, I have 5.001, and so I'll pin it. This is what I have, so I'm going to pin here. I'm pinning so that it will not shift. I'll pin here. Okay, then I'll come to the other side of it and also measure the same thing here. So I'll measure here. This is, you see, this one I measured is 5.5. So I'll pull it and get, so okay, I need to pull it a bit. So you pull it a bit and get the exact inches. So it's the same now. Okay, so I'll pin this part also. Now if I get this side, the down part, both sides correct, the upper part doesn't matter, because at the end of the day it's going to have the same measurements. Okay, and so this is it, this way. So I'm going to have it this way. I'm going to have it this way. This is it. I'm going to have it this way. So this is less than 2 inches here, and then when I come here to, is the same thing. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew this part. I'm going to sew it all to the end here. I'm going to sew it all through. Okay, so I'm done sewing this part. I'm done sewing, as you can see. Okay, so you're going to the other parts of it, and this time around, this part, in order for me to be able to turn it inside, I'm not going to sew everything from here to here. I'll just sew from the down part to somewhere here. So I'm leaving this part for turning in. So I'll do that and show it to you. Okay, so this is it up to this point, and I'm going to turn it inside this way. So I'm just trying to make sure that the corners will come out very well. So this is the open part. Okay, this is it. We have lined our fabric very neatly, and everything is straight, it's not crooked. So this is the open part. Now what you are going to do is we are going to fold the open part inside this way, and then we'll sew on top. But before I do the sewing on top, I will first iron everything out, get everything straight before I fold the open part in, and then sew and close that area. Okay guys, so this is it. I've closed this part, the open part, and so this is it. So this is how we line our fabric for our slit. And this, after this way, whether you are using it for 8 corners, 6 corners, 4 corners, or pencil, you will line it this way. Then after, you will use it for what you want to use, the kind of slit you want. Well, another method of also doing this, maybe you say that what we just did is very stressful. So the method of lining the slit is your fabric, your 2 yards of fabric, you will fold it this way, and then you will determine the length. So you fold it this way, then you measure your slit length. Maybe the slits you are using 40 or whatever. So if you measure and it's not up to, this one is 37, and so you pull till you get your length plus your allowance, that is 1 inch, at least 1 inch allowance for folding on the top. Let's say I'm using 36 inches for the slit length. So I have 37 here, which is okay. Then after, where you folded on top, this is it. You are going to measure from the starting point here, to where you are folded on top, this line. So this is 28, and so it means you are going to need a lining length of 28, but you will not cut exactly 28. You will add at least ½ inch to 8, ½ inch, make it 28 and a half, because you sew this part. So you get a lining length of 28 and a half. Then you measure the breadth of it, that is the width, and this one, the width is 56, and so you get exactly width 56 or breadth 56, and then the length you get 28 and a half. Then you attach it from the right side of the fabric. Then you do the same way, use the method we use in attaching the other one, sew both sides. And after, you measure the inches you want it at the down part, and then the inches you want it at the upper part of it, and then you sew and complete it like the way we did the other one. And so this is how we line a fabric for our slit. Thanks so much for watching. If you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing, like and share the video.